Hi there, and hello, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Love in Action's Deconstruction Junction. I'm Dr. Flo, global encourager, encouraging you and equipping you and empowering you daily to stand in your truth and to live your dream in the here and now, just for today. And it is a thrill to be back with you again here on today's podcast taping and program. The goals of Deconstruction Junction is simple: to unpack the current events and ideas that we have been rumbling and rummaging through for the last week or so. And as always, I'm joined by the amazingly talented and fiercely opinionated Tara Praolo.
I wonder how many people would describe me as that. I'm going to do that in my market research. I'm going to ask people, would you describe me as opinionated?
Fiercely opinionated.
We're going to put up a poll.
Start with Ross and then work your way down the list. I would love
Ross probably will never answer the polls. For those of you that don't know, Ross is my husband. We don't really talk about him on the show. But Ross is indeed my significant other. We have lived together in the Twin Cities for 10 years, you guys. 10 years as of March 1st. Holy crap. Anyway, I'm Tara Priolo. I am your resident Black, biracial, multi-passionate musician, and I help make the intangible tangible by releasing the entanglements that you have placed upon your capital V voice. I always feel like I want like a sound effect on voice, like, see, it's getting better, right? It's getting better. If y'all are interested, there is a Nail Your Intro replay on lifteveryvoice.substack.com that you can scroll back and find, and you can learn how to make your own intro, of which Dr. Flo and I have been doing that for years now. Anywho, what else do I have to tell you all? I'm happy to be here. We're going to talk about some things. We've been gone for like almost 3 weeks now, which is crazy. We had life. We were sick. Both of us were sick. And then we had to adult. And we're all still adulting in the swamp that is the world.
I was about to say, you're acting like adulting stops. That's a masterclass I'd sign up for.
Right. How to make adulting stop. Like, I was literally just complaining to Dr. Flo about an email that I got before I got on here. Like, also, okay, I'm not this person normally. But I will say that, like, when the world is burning, which is literally has been our entire lives as millennials, and those of you that are baby boomers, y'all did the Korean War, you had the Vietnam War, you had the Gulf War. Like, I need y'all to be kinder to people. You don't got to be rude. You don't got to ask why things are taking so long. Have you seen the world burning?
It reminds me of what our dear friend and member of the network, Joyous Windrider Jimenez, says when she says, we're all carrying something heavy.
Yeah.
Every last one of us is carrying something heavy.
Right.
We could stand to be gentle in our touch, gentle in our approach.
Right. And you just never know what other people are going through. And this doesn't mean you have to be like toxic positivity, whatever, but like a kind approach often goes much further. Anyway, I don't normally start the top of this pod with a speech. If you would like to come on and give your own speech and or tell me to shut up, you could have your name here on the screen if you are in the midst of deconstructing.
Twice in the last 24 hours, I've told her to shut up. As it relates to my tomatoes, as it relates to all of these.
He tells me to shut up at least once daily. And I give him a good old fuck you Flo at least twice daily. So, we're doing
it's like a carbon offset program of dreamers.
Exactly. So if you're a person out there that is observing the world, existing in the world, you want a place to talk about it publicly, feel free to either DM Dr. Flo or I, or go to our website and live chat us, and we are happy to have you on the show. Hi, Angela. We love you. You're so beautiful. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Flo is getting some things up, and I'm first up today, y'all. Per usual, um, which I think I can't even remember. ICE and political updates. Okay. Once again, there's a lot going on in the world, and we're not necessarily the most political podcast out there. We don't always talk about politics, but ICE is outside of my door, and not like well, they were like down the street 2 days ago. Anyway, so I've got some slides. I'm going to go through the slides, and I'll probably add some other things in because some stuff happened this morning that I didn't put in this deck. Angela says our government is childish as fuck. Next slide, please. Okay, so these are very small, but I'm going to try my best. So this was last week. It says, just saw this information from the ACLU. I cut off my own thread. Anyway, what it was saying was as of last week, there were still 970 ICE agents in Minnesota. And they had said that they were going down to 407 come March 1st. However, Christy Nome yesterday confirmed that there's still 650 ICE agents here. And yesterday, no, 2 days ago, going in and out of the Whipple building, which has kind of become very known as the ICE headquarters and detainment center here and concentration camp, etc., had a whole bunch of brand new SUVs being trucked in to it. So that, that's where we're at. Okay, this is also last week and having to do with ICE. Protests have erupted at Columbia University after the school says DHS detained a student after making misrepresentations to gain entry into the building. In a statement, DHS said the building manager and her roommate let officers into the apartment. She has no pending appeals or applications with DHS. So essentially, ICE came onto a college campus and abducted someone for shits and giggles at like 6 a.m. Love that. Anyway, next slide.
Did I also read somewhere that Mom Donnie made a personal appeal to the so-called president, and that's how she was ultimately released?
I feel like there was a meeting with Trump and Mom Donnie, but I don't know. Listen, y'all, I've told you all time and time again, we got to stop talking about Trump. Like we just like I know it's like virtually unavoidable, but that is the point. We got to break the cycle. And so I try my darndest to just like shove him out of my feed. Like I don't want to know. So I don't really know what happened at that meeting. I'm sure I'll find out on one of my podcast listens at some point in the future. Yeah. Okay.
That's fair. I try to, we have a whole I have, therefore we have an affinity here for the story of the wolf you feed. And we try to do the best that we can, both behind the scenes and front of house, to put as much positivity in the world as we can. Tara and I are not naturally glass half full kind of people. Adulting has brought to me a particular kind of realism. However, we try to feed positivity here in this space and not give,
or at least not give power to something that is not powerful. I mean, this is kind of a ruminating thought that I've had over the last few days, which is like, why do we consider these people so powerful when they're so horrible and like they do stupid things? Like as Angie says, like they're childish. They're literally acting like children with big guns. And so I just think that like there's a little part of us that like a big part of us that and capitalism and white supremacist Delulu and these things have told us all our lives that the rich land owning white man is the most powerful person and therefore like we have to allow things. And it's like, well, actually though, like, is the white man that much more powerful than me? No. Like, and that's the true answer. So like if I stop treating Trump as this all-powerful entity or Netanyahu as this all-powerful entity, then it loses its obsessive quality over my life. right? And I'm able to then act more free and be more glass half full than when I feel the oppressiveness of an all powerful entity that has been placed upon me, right? So that's kind of what I've been coming to the last few days. Like, like Putin only has power because somebody told us that he has power. Netanyahu only has power because somebody told us he has power and told us that the people are weak, right? And that's not the truth. There's way more of people who could be empowered to be in their power, who could overcome the people that supposedly are in power, right? But they don't have a monopoly on power. So like if we let that go, the world would change.
We are the power. And my good ancestor, Toni Morrison, taught me that if you have to stand on someone else's shoulders or stand on someone else's neck to feel powerful or to be tall, you're not tall or powerful at all.
Exactly. Exactly. Hmm. Hmm. Next slide. Okay, we got to make it big for Tara's eyes. Talk about the person going to get new glasses
I
tomorrow.
was like, you may be the
Anyway,
one that needs bifocals.
this says, and we just talked about how I am annoyed with Trump. But anyway, this was a story from last week. It says, wow, Trump announced tonight that he is withholding $259 million in Medicaid funding from Minnesota. 1.2 million Minnesotans rely on Medicaid, Republicans and Democrats, moms, dads, and kids. This is absolutely despicable. In response, DFL Attorney General Keith Ellison has signaled he would sue to block the funding hold from taking effect. But if a court rules against Minnesota, lawmakers would have to pull in state dollars to continue providing services or make difficult decisions about services that might be on the chopping block. The other part of this that affects us nationally is that they also, Oz and somebody announced that they were going to take a pause. They were going to put a pause on subsidies for medical home equipment, durable medical equipment that you like wheelchairs. So those are going to become much more expensive. I guess it's a 6-month pause. We'll see if that holds up in the courts. I don't think it will. Same thing with this. Like, it's not going to hold up in the courts because there's literally no reason, particularly because Minnesota pays more to the federal government than we get back, in case anyone is wondering, which is why people are big. Like, that's why Minnesota is a target, is because, like, we are a free state because don't we don't take so much from the government. We pay into the federal government. Um, and then there was one more thing. Oh, Hennepin County Medical Center, which is like Minnesota's big trauma center. Like, it's where the critical patients go. It's the only hyperbolic chamber in Minnesota. And there's a couple like, and it's like a burn unit. There's a really specialized burn unit at Hennepin County Medical, and they may have to close their doors because of not enough revenue. So that's actually pretty scary because Minnesota is actually quite known for our healthcare here. I'm sure you all have heard of Mayo Clinic. It is, in fact, in Rochester, Minnesota, and it is one of the most renowned medical places in the world. So, yeah, that's the medical
Did not
update.
know that Mayo was in Minnesota.
Yeah, it's about an hour and a half from me, hour and a half
Wow.
south. Yeah. Hmm.
That reminds me of my thought that I had about the last slide as well before I went off into the Toni Morrison world. We'll talk a bit later about what happened at BAFTA and beyond, but calling people names and taking people's capacity to eat and taking people's access to healthcare and like their ability to live is how these particular evildoers like to get attention. This is
Right.
like classic attention seeking behavior.
Right. Same way, and we'll talk about this later too, but the same way that like we're just bombing random places. Like we literally bombed Ecuador this morning. Like, why are we like we in Venezuela and Nigeria before that, and obviously Iran right now. Like it's strictly so that we feel so off balance, and this is why like it's why having a calm demeanor or having a peaceful demeanor or having a as much as you can a centered nervous system, a nervous system that is at rest, is so disruptive to the system. And it does make people very angry, right? Because they are so activated by everything that is going on, because they feel like they have to be in this like fight flight response reactivity moment, because that's what the environment tells us. And the powerful, to go back to what we were talking about earlier, are feeding off of that chaos. They're feeding off of the fear. They're feeding off of the the lack of nervous system stability in the majority of the population. It keeps them in control, right? And when we are centered in our beings and we are centered in our nervous system and we are calm, they cannot feed off of us, and therefore we are more free, which is scary as shit to a group of people who have only been in power by stepping on other people's necks. All right, last slide. These are more recent. I think I took these this morning. Unfortunately, back to ICE. Emmanuel, I don't know how to say this last name. Damas, maybe. 50, he was 56, died while in ICE custody. After not receiving medical care for a worsening toothache, which is just like, yeah. It says another Black man murdered by ICE, and rest in power, Emmanuel. And then also, on a totally different note, again, political updates here. Texas and I believe it was North Carolina had primaries yesterday. As you may know, the Texas primary was the big primary because Miss Jasmine Crockett was in it, against James Tellerico, who's a white progressive, I guess we can call him. And there was a whole bunch of stuff like yesterday that happened. Like the polls were supposed to be open until 9, and then a judge ruled that they could only be open until 7, and then like a whole bunch of stuff happened. So there was definitely voter suppression. There was definitely crazy things. And I will just say here that this is why we say that, like, yes, vote, and it can't be your beginning, end, or middle. Like voting is like a bonus at this point. It doesn't do a whole lot. But anyway, of course, the Black woman in Texas is not going to win. So James Tellerico did win last night, and Jasmine called James this morning. And Jasmine says, "This morning I called James and congratulated him on becoming the Senate nominee." She said in a statement, "Democrats must rally around our nominees and win. I'm committed to doing my part and will continue working to elect Democrats up and down the ballot. Thank you for everything, Representative Crockett." This is from Elizabeth Booker. "You helped inspire record voter turnout in a Texas primary while still doing your job and fighting for us all. It has been an honor to work on your campaign." We've talked a little bit about Jasmine before. I saw somebody say, and I can't remember who it was. I feel like it was like Feminista Jones or somebody, so one of those like mouthy people on threads. It could have been Uppity Negress, but somebody said like, "I'm no longer excited about seeing Black people in these offices that do horrible things." Like, and I have never resonated with something more than I resonated with that. Because as I keep saying on this podcast and other places, like, it doesn't matter who sits in the seat. The seat is the problem. Like, because the seat reinforces the system. And therefore, if you are in the seat, you are reinforcing the very system that is oppressing other people. Right. And
Both of them, both Tellerico and Jasmine Crockett, for all of her, planned curse words and political positionings, both of them were pro-Zionist.
right. Both of them
Both.
have. Right, and Jasmine tried to, like, she very weirdly, because she got accused of it, right, like, publicly, and she was like, "Well, no, I voted for this because, like, the other budget was, like, worth more," or, like, whatever, and I was like, I Like, we got to stop capitulating. Actually, Clara, my friend Clara and I were having this conversation. We were listening to Pod Save the People the other day, and we were talking about DeRay, who's like the main guy on that show. He's been on that show since the beginning. And we used to think DeRay was like super progressive, but now he's like the least progressive voice on that show. And we were talking about how you can't capitulate before you even make the delusional ask. And that is continuously what Jasmine Crockett does, right? Like, again, for all of her theater, for all of her sound bites, for all of the little TikToks that y'all see, like, she is capitulating at every turn just to get legislation passed. Very similar to AOC, right? Like, and I prefer AOC to Jasmine. There's something about Jasmine that is like super performative that I can't quite get past. But that's like a personal thing. But like everyone in Congress is doing that, right? Everyone in Congress is not making the most extreme ask. They're making a capitulated ask that can get passed so it looks like they're doing something. But at the end of the day, none of that trickles down to your everyday Negro. Everyday Negro. If you all would like to listen to My Name is Florence, you can do so at yourclassical.org. The archive is up, and you are welcome to listen to that tune.
Out of context, I was like, what is happening in here? Yeah. I think Miss Crockett's going to do well because she used her position, as most would do, to serve her interest and to be known for what she's good at. Will
Right.
she be hired by someone? Does she have money in the bank?
Is she going to get
Um,
a book deal? Absolutely. Is she going to go on to be in government some more? Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, she's not done. She's certainly not done. Like, this is not in the way that if Amy Klobuchar loses the governor position, she'll be done. She's just done. But anyway, yeah, yeah, that is what it is. But that's the big political picture happening
they say
currently.
that she has a net worth of 9 million, despite being paid 74,000 a year, and she owns a $2 million townhome somewhere.
Would she like
Um,
to rent it out for low income folks?
you know the answer.
I do, child. I would like a $2 million home.
They said that yesterday I heard on Clubhouse, and you all can fact check this. If y'all send a message to Ask Dr. Flo at gmail.com or Tara Paolo Studio at gmail.com and fact check us, we'll be happy to get online or in our next podcast taping and or on a reel between now and then to correct this. I got called out about a flag earlier in the week, but we can talk about that in a bit. But I heard in the clubhouse streets that she was popping bottles in the club and said she was meeting constituents out on the campaign trail. But when you went to the website to actually figure out where your voting precinct was, and how to actually vote for her, there was conflicting information on a lot of Texas electoral websites, and people were getting turned around all day because there was
Yeah.
something that happened with the redistricting of the voting and polling places in the places that she said she wanted to support, which
Right.
people
And
said
there
was
was,
a move.
right. I'm not sure that that can really be attributed to Crockett because it was a mess. Like I said, there was like a court order. There was a bunch of stuff going on, particularly in high minority areas, right? To suppress the vote, right? Duh. Because a white man was like, I personally think that James Tellerico knew that he would lose if he let those people at the polls. But so I'm just gonna take a page and say that the white man had more of a factor than the black woman. However, the black woman didn't really fight about that either. Like, she just was kind of like, this didn't go our way. And I'm like, I feel like if I was in her position and I actually wanted the Senate seat, I would probably build I would not have conceded, and I would have
She is
gone to
Democratic
courts.
establishment. She is part of Blue MAGA.
Yeah.
She is appeasing people in power as part of the Democratic institution
Right.
or the
Which
Democratic Party and its
right, which is
institutions.
basically the Republican Party with rainbow flags. So
When someone said recently that the Democratic Party is the HR department of America,
they're pretty bad at their job, though.
a lot of HR departments are
Really bad. Aunt
because
Brie,
they're
though,
representing the House.
shout out to Aunt Brie, who does a great job in HR.
Help us, Jesus. We're going to talk today a bit about the warfare of AI. For those of you who've not been paying attention, lots of shakeups have been happening in the AI spaces and amongst AI companies like Anthropic's Claude and OpenAI's ChatGPT. I want to talk a bit today about what's going on with all of that by reading something that's about to pop up. So, experts warn AI is too unreliable for weapons amid Pentagon Anthropic clash. The standoff between Anthropic and the Pentagon over military use of artificial intelligence has exposed a deeper question troubling defense and technology experts. The question is whether today's AI systems are simply too error prone for the battlefield. In an interview Tuesday with the Associated Press, former Navy fighter pilot Missy Cummings warned that deploying chatbot technology in warfare could have deadly consequences. Quote, "You're going to kill non combatants," end quote, said Cummings, who now directs the Robotics and Automation Center at George Mason University. Quote, "You're going to kill your own troops. I'm not clear whether the military truly understands the limitations." And so essentially, what's happening is they are trying to use the same chatbot technology or very similar chatbot technologies that you find when you like chatbot Verizon to get, you know,
Where I go, speak to a person, speak to a person, speak to a person. And they go, I'm sorry, it's not available right now. And I say, speak to a person. I'll get you connected to an agent. Thank you so much, chatbot.
right. So think about that happening. Think about asking to speak to an agent when bombs are being geolocated to fall.
Right. Yeah, I did see stuff about that, and I saw Trump get big mad, and then the Pentagon was like, "We're not using your services anymore." I was like, "I'm not sure that that's a bad thing." Um, I don't know, like, I don't first of all, we're dumb at war. Like, humans in general are just dumb
It's
at
not a
war.
precise science because
Like
it's so reckless and it's emotionally driven.
right, and so, like, I feel that since humans also then built the AI, it is not a far stretch to say that, like, AI would AI because okay, what comes up in my brain is, y'all ever seen iRobot? Okay? Y'all ever seen iRobot and they let the robots control the building, and her name is Vicky, and she's like, "Everybody is collateral damage." Like, it don't matter if I kill my employees, it don't matter if I burn down my own building because we need to change the world. Or we get because Angie might still be here. We can bring it to Marvel, okay? What's that guy's name? The purple guy. He's the purple guy. The big uh anyway, he's the bad guy, y'all. He's the bad guy and he snaps his fingers and like it kills good people, bad people, his people, like like
What
kills
about
it kills
Thanos?
that one. That's the one, Thanos, right? Because it's just like indiscriminate. It's like it doesn't matter. And so AI doesn't like care. Right? Which is like, I mean, to a point of that I was going to make a reel on today. Um, it really, the news media right now, this has nothing to do with AI, but everything to do with war is like, well, 6 American citizens have been killed. And it's like, well, the death toll for Iranians and Lebanese people and the other countries that are getting bombed is well over 1,000 at this point. We are 3 days in. and y'all want me to care more about the 6 Americans that were killed because of borders, but AI wouldn't care about that.
Well, AI is programmed by people who don't care, and so um, it's going to present this garbage in, garbage out type of circumstance. The articles go on to talk about Anthropic's red lines and the fallout. The dispute escalated in late February.
February.
The
That's
dispute escalated in late February after Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth gave Anthropic an ultimatum to grant the military unrestricted use of its Claude AI model or face being blacklisted. Amadei refused, writing that frontier AI systems are simply not reliable enough to power fully autonomous weapons, and that without, quote, proper oversight, they cannot be relied upon to exercise the critical judgment that our highly trained professional troops exhibit every day. Like, once again, it's one thing to be put into customer service, eventually by an AI. It's another thing to use AI in order to make literal life or death decisions in warfare.
right.
Which reminds me of an earlier point that I forgot because I have ADHD and my brain sometimes goes a little quicker than I want it to. There's a fidget spinner happening under the table, even to move some of this energy. Locally, there are many part-time workers at the grocery store that we used to go to in town. Some of their main jobs are munitions. They build bombs and um, make bullets. They have to fire those bullets and or drop those bombs to keep from having a stockpile of weaponry and munitions. I would be very curious to hear how you feel about. I mean, and then my brain automatically goes into this documentary I saw on Netflix this weekend um, about how our materials are intentionally made to break so that
Mm-hmm.
we can buy new ones from Amazon, and how the
Mm-hmm.
world right now is having a trash concern because we have no place to put all of the shit that we buy.
Right.
Just because it disappears from your house and goes into the garbage doesn't mean that it's going away forever. And people
Mm-hmm.
like, just burn it. Well, you can't burn it because then that gets into the air and that gets into your lungs. Anyway, that's a bit of a jump. What say you about the fact that people are being employed and feeding their families based on the making of bullets and bombs, and that how that cycle just fortifies itself?
I've seen a couple. This like relates and doesn't relate. I mean, it does relate. I've seen a couple videos from
I've been
people
all over the map in this
on
segment, so
TikTok.
like,
Yeah, I've seen a couple people on TikTok talk about like people being concerned that the draft is going to be reinstated, and people were like, capitalism is the draft, like because like most of the time like people are going into the military literally to feed their families or be able to go to like afford to go to school because the military will pay for your schooling after a certain number of years, right? And so that's like where my brain immediately goes is to like this idea that like some of these positions people are taking just to survive, and I would never fault someone for trying to survive, because that is the environment that we're in. But then my secondary thought is like my dad left the military because he was being asked to help program more sophisticated bombs. He was in the Air Force for a number of years, and he left because of that. And then I think about like my grandpa, who was on the ship that gave the radio order to drop one of the bombs in Japan. Like like my family is a military family, um, and I just go back to this idea that like, and we see it, and we've talked about this, like how punitive our society is, and how we cannot seem to escape that the only answer, like the thing that people fear the most about AI is that it will become violent, right? That robots are going to take over the world and they're going to kill us all. And that's like our like it's like the worst part of our imagination. Like what if AI could build farms and feed people so that people didn't have to go make bullets and bombs, right? Now I will say
They
that
have these technology. They have the AI can be used to deploy the 3D AI technology that can literally build homes. You could
right,
bring this equipment, you could set it on a plot of land, make sure the foundation's legit. We brought this into this podcast before where it literally went through, it took time and it squeezed this goo that hardened and it solved houselessness at an
right,
affordable cost
right.
in communities. And yet, instead of using AI in that way, we want to figure out how to use it to chatbot bombs.
Right, right. Because like the only conclusion is violence, is destroying. And I'm like, I just like that's so hard for me to accept. And in fact, I refuse to accept it. And I think that's why like I continue to like point out how wild it is that that is the only conclusion. Like if your only conclusion to um Christiana Smith was talking about this the other day. She was talking about the way that we treat children and the way that we then like infantilize elderly people, and like how we discipline, and how discipline is often violent, and why, like, and how that trains our brains to only be able to think of violent conclusions to things. It's like a very interesting take. But yeah, I mean, like, and I guess the last part of this is that we have already depleted 25% of our missile storage in the last 3 days. So there must not have been that much.
Who
Um,
told you that?
I saw it on Threads this morning, child. Like, and this is where I'm like, indiscriminate bombing, right? Like indiscriminate bombing. We are doing the same shit that Israel does because we are one and the same. But anyway,
Well, some would say that we are being controlled by neo Nazi Zionist zealots in Israel to do the things that we're doing.
I mean, Israel was created by Britain and the US. So I'll let you all draw your own conclusions for that.
I want to talk about spies. I also watched this weekend a lot of interviews. Let me see if I could figure out through Tara's account the name of this guy. He is a notorious whistleblower who
Super
did
spy.
time. I'm sorry.
Super spy.
Yeah, he worked for the CIA for years. His name is John.
Such
Uh,
a outstanding name.
yeah, his name is John Kiriakou.
Okay.
Kiriakou. And in this interview that has 8.2 million views from January of this year, former CIA officer and whistleblower John Kiriakou reveals how easily you're tracked, the truth about surveillance, manipulation, and torture, and why exposing the CIA sent him to prison. Um, he's a former CIA counterterrorism officer and intelligence analyst who served for 15 years and was the chief counterterrorism operations expert for Pakistan after 9/11. He blew the whistle notoriously on the CIA's torture program and he served 23 months in prison for it. And this guy was talking about the fact that we have sleeper cells and spies all over this country, and that 1 in 100 people that we meet, and we encounter a lot of people. I also sit out on TikTok and on YouTube and on Twitch a lot. The probability of us being monitored by spies and or having spies in our lives or encountering spies is very, very high. And you and I used to joke about this a lot, especially in my hippie lettuce paranoid days, about like you being a spy or someone in the community being a spy. It's not that far fetched that we are being watched for some foreign adversary or being monitored personally for the purposes of our own government, because up until like 9/11, it wasn't proper for the American government to spy on its own citizens. Now it's completely okay. In fact, in this YouTube video, the gentleman was talking about how any speaker in your house can be turned into a microphone.
We know this.
We know this.
We know this because when you're talking to someone and then you go to your Facebook and Meta shows you exactly what you were talking about.
Well, the technology, if you know electronics, and some people in the space may know electronics, the technology of a speaker has always been bidirectional.
Right.
You were always able to hear.
I am one of those moms. Like, I don't conspiracy theories. I believe in like 2 or 3, right? But
she believes in way more than that, folks.
That is not true. I don't really believe in the 9/11 shit that you believe in.
Really?
Really, truly.
You don't believe that 9/11 was an inside job?
Well, I believe it was an inside job, but I don't believe that it was like that it didn't. I don't think that they bombed it from inside the building.
Oh, see, stop. They definitely did. But keep going. Okay.
Anyway. Okay. But the one thing we're talking about tech. So the one thing that there's not a lot that scares me as a parent. There's not a lot that scared me as a parent. However, the idea that that you can buy baby monitors that attach to your Wi-Fi, that scares the ever-loving shit out of me. Like, give me a
do you think people are monitoring babies? They're gonna come snatch the baby based on what they see on
the
monitor?
They do. And then some people like take pictures of your babies and put them on the dark web, like child corn and all that good stuff. So anyway,
I've seen the dark web enough times to know that it's not a place where I want to.
And so anyway, that's like tech stuff freaks me out. But I'm not one of those that like I know the people that like take the Post-it note and like put it on their cameras when I'm like, y'all can see me. Like, you can do with it what you will,
I don't embarrass easily. I've gotten nudes floating all over the mini cities. So if you ever see it, just clap. But I just, we don't know what we don't know. Right. And we don't know who's concealing what. And we don't know who's planted where. And the reason why I brought this up today,
like literally, like your neighbor, y'all, could be like a serial killer. Like these are the things that I legitimately think about, which is why I tell Flo all the time about my neighbors next door who like there's like different cars there all the time, and I'm like, okay, either where Flo suggested they might be drug dealers or swingers. I don't know. Maybe they're trafficking. Maybe they're selling things. My other neighbors that used to live in the house, they used to be, they would like sell dogs and like lie about it. Like they would lie about the breed of the dog. Anyway, it was a whole thing. I clocked them on Nextdoor.
The people of the Caucasus Mountains hate that shit. They hate when you fight the dogs. They hate when you lie on the dogs. They hate when you
don't do the things to the dogs that y'all think you should do to the dogs.
You could do it. You could do it to black people first, but not the dogs.
And that's why Melissa, when people talk about Melissa and Mark, they always say, and Gilbert, their dog.
It's absolute. It's nuts.
It's
Researchers
because
link.
Homeward
Mhm.
Bound. It's Homeward Bound. I'm telling you. We all saw that movie when we were kids.
These people of the Caucasus Mountains. Researchers link new Chinese hacking group to government espionage across Asia and Europe. Cybersecurity researchers at Checkpoint Research have uncovered a Chinese aligned espionage group dubbed Silver Dragon that has been targeting government entities across Southeast Asia and Europe since at least mid 2024, deploying Cobalt strike beacons and custom backdoor uses that include Google Drive for the use of covert communications. Um,
Here's what I feel. I feel that here's what I feel about spies. A, I actually think it'd be really cool to be a spy, and I think that I would be very
I
good at
think you
it.
are one still. I just don't know who you're working for yet.
Like I y'all don't even know. Like the internet sleuth that I am that I never talk about, like y'all sit down. Like and like in my retirement, Angela, if you're still here, in Angie and I's retirement, we are definitely going to be the internet sleuths that solve the cold cases. That's going to be me and Angie. We're going to be great at it. Okay.
I agree. I agree.
Well, so that's the thing. So number one, I would like to be a spy. But number two, I also feel like this is what I feel about like nudity. You know, like how people are more open about nudity in Europe than we are here, and like yada yada yada. Like, can we not just like have conversations with each other and be transparent about like who we are? Like, can we not just like be like yesterday when Ross was leaving, he like gave me a kiss, and I was like, y'all, sometimes. Okay, I'm sorry. I said good morning. He gave me a kiss, and then I said, "Don't kill anybody today. Drink
Don't
your
kill it.
water and mind your business." Like,
Yes.
and like, but it's like, I of course, like, please come home and tell me if you killed someone. You know, like,
Here we go. Here we fucking go.
why am I suspicious of my neighbors doing something? Like, couldn't I just go ask them and be like, "Hey, what's up?"
Well, number one, what those people are doing is none of your fucking business. Number two, um, the whole we can talk about uh, global espionage, and we could talk about the Epstein files and all of it. It's all based on secrecy and this desire to hide
Do you think it ever
humanity.
works? Has it ever worked? Do you think
No, I,
people still have like secrets in the grave, like people that are dead?
I think that shame and guilt affects everyone differently, and I think there are people who live their lives with a complete fear of being exposed. And I think it's very real for them. I think there are people on the planet who'd rather unalive themselves than have you see what their genitals look like. We
That's true.
just we just so happen or they're you've heard people. I would be mortified. I would just die if this came out about me. Or I used to deal with a lot of people who I worked in fucking showbiz. It's one
Right.
big like that's his wife, but he's fucking the whole of course Hugh Jackman, you know, and so then
A
people just
million dreams.
okay, a million asses, and but it's like you don't you secrets are a currency for people in power who are motivated by toxic fear and shame. Let us be grateful that we're not free. You can't blackmail me about shit, but that's
True.
the currency of how things about how things go. Want to talk ever so briefly. Got to pull my little article here about what's choking in Iran. Over 3,000 ships are stranded as the Strait of Hormuz crisis chokes global supply chains. 5 days after the United States and Isn't Real launched coordinated military strikes on Iran, the ripple effects have spread far beyond the battlefield. effectively shutting down one of the world's most critical shipping corridors and threatening shortages across industries from pharmaceuticals to semiconductors. More than 3,200 vessels, representing roughly 4% of global shipping tonnage, are now stranded inside the Persian Gulf, with an additional 500 ships waiting off the coast of the United Arab Emirates and Oman. The Strait of Hormuz, which normally handles 100 to 80 to 100 transits per day, carries about a fifth of the world's seaborne oil.
Mhm.
And that's seen a traffic collapse by more than 80% since the strikes began on February 28th. I want to bring it up because this is going to drive cost up, and the capitalists feel justified for saying it's the Strait of Hormuz that is causing everything to skyrocket while also adding in their extra cost.
Right.
We saw this happen in the pandemic, where the cost of toilet paper and everyday items should not have been as high as it was.
And it never came back down, boo boo.
It's price gouging, and they will launch bomb after bomb and put us in war after war, so that people go, well, that's just that's what happens when or let's blame the brown people
Right.
on the other side of the planet for the fact that my gas price is going up.
Right. How many times have we started a war with the Persian Gulf because of oil? How many times have we started wars in the Swana area? Yeah. It's always about oil, y'all. Iraq was about oil. So war that, as you heard, the Strait of Hormuz or Hormuz. I don't actually know how you say it, but whatever. Um, it has been closed. Um, so I'm bringing two things here because, as I mentioned, I think at the top of the podcast, um, just this morning, literally this morning, the United States and Ecuador uh, have carried out a joint military operation against designated terrorist organizations in Ecuador. Though the U.S. role was limited to advising Ecuadorian troops and they did not participate in the ground operation, a source familiar with the operation told ABC News. I feel like that's not really true, but like, whatever. So, anyway, like, we've, once again, Nigeria, Venezuela, Ecuador, Iran, we've obviously been supplying weapons and technologies to Israel this whole time. Um, have what you will. So there's that. And also, I should mention here that before I start talking about Iran, that Afghanistan and Pakistan also went to war last week. It's like a quote unquote open war. I haven't really been able to have the time to research that in its entirety, so I don't quite know what that means, but just know that like there are other countries in what the colonizers call the Middle East, and other people have said to call it SWANA, SWANA, which is Southwest Asia and North Africa. So that's going on. Like I said, I don't have a lot of research on that. Not a lot of people are talking about that because the US isn't involved. And, the US is the center of the universe. Didn't you know? Make it big one more time. I got to read that secondary thread. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. All right. It says, this is from Bernice King, Dr. King's daughter. This image from Iran shows, nope, of rows of freshly dug graves for schoolgirls and their teachers is heavy for humanity. Each grave represents a child who should have been safe in a classroom, a future interrupted, a family changed forever. My father, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., warned that war robs us of both the present and the promise of tomorrow. When children become casualties of conflict, we must conflict the moral failure at the heart of violence. So this particular war started with the United States and Israel bombing a school. which last I heard had killed 175 people, mostly children and women. Um, it's very interesting to me that, and I'm using interesting as a catch-all word, that to free the women and children under the oppressive regime of the Ayatollah, we bombed and killed women and children.
It's wild how to
It's
stop
just
the murder, we need to murder more people.
correct. So the other things that have happened this weekend in this war are that we apparently killed an 88-year-old supreme leader. I guess thinking that that was going to like wipe out this regime that has been in charge for 45 years. However, today, Iran and the IRGC basically said that his son is taken over. Okay, his son is going to be the new supreme leader. So that didn't work because they're integrated. They've had 45 years to put together this regime, and it is not as clean as just. I mean, it's the same as Iraq, right? It wasn't as clean as killing their leader because it's so integrated into their society at this point. And of course, like I know that there were many, many, many Iranians that were celebrating the death of this horrible human, right? Like there is no qualm, and the same is true of Venezuela, right? Like the same is true of Maduro, that he is a bad dude. Like he's a bad dude and he needed to go. However, us, the US, walking in the door and being like, this is a bad dude, let's take him out. Have you seen our country? Have you seen the terrorist organizations that exist here and have existed here for over 100 years? It's called the KKK, boo boos. It's still not on a terrorist organization list, but like, wake it up. Hello, somebody. Anyway, and before that, it was called something else. It was called the Slave Patrollers. And before that, it was just called your regular, degula slave owner and ship captain, right?
Also known as daddy,
That part.
papa,
So, uh,
grandpapa.
right. So, I think it's weird. I think it's weird that people still are like, "Yay, America!" Like, yeah. And I know that, like, I mean, Flo was talking earlier about the flag thing, and the person had come into the live and said, like, you know, like we loved when we had Western influence, and I just don't think that that is. It's not true for everybody that's there. It may be true for some people that are in Iran and lived during that time, but Western culture is not the end all be all. Democracy is not the end all be all. Certainly not the kind of oligarchic, democratic republic bullshit, authoritarian, fascistic government that we have currently. That's not ideal. That shouldn't be the ideal because no. And so, like, I just, I know why. It's the oil, it's the money, it is control of an area that is perceived to make a ton of money because of the trade deals that Flo was just referring to. It does carry 10% of the world's oil, which is not a small that's not a small number. And they have to have a way to continue to pull us back into the system, right? Like this too is a joy lash. This too is like people relaxed about ICE, people got peaceful, we were all happy in our mutual aid moment, we were having community, we were like doing the thing, and so they were like, let's bomb another country, pull them back in, get the fear, get the chaos, wrap them back in, make it harder for them to live, right? Like if you zoom out, that's exactly what happened, right? Mutual aid
And
funding
you
was
and you
going
and you
well.
have to look at it from that perspective so that you don't get caught up.
Right. Like it is sad that over 1,000 people have died, and it is going to be a mess over there, right? However, also I should say here, some people are like, the midterms aren't going to happen. Y'all, we have been at war for literally 150 years. The midterms, the elections, they always happen. Like, so I'm gonna just need y'all to just put that one back in the casket and let that thought die. We're gonna have midterms, we're gonna be fine. Stop it. Stop it. Stop being defeatist. Trump is gonna die. Just like Ayatollah was gonna die. He was 88. We didn't do nothing. We killed an 88-year-old man. An 88-year-old man. He wasn't running very fast, boo-boos. Like like I'm so sorry, but like we did nothing, okay? We did nothing. And Netanyahu is 76. We got a 76-year-old, a 79-year-old, and an 88-year-old literally trying to destroy the world just to get your attention so they can feed off of it. And none of it is real. Money's not real. None of it is real. Okay, that's my speech on Iran and war. Okay. Carry on.
There was outage at Facebook yesterday. Those of us who have given up Facebook in some regards because it's a casino that sometimes allows us to be seen by our publics and sometimes not.
Never.
It's just a dumpster fire. I'm reverting back to I saw Tara today. She's doing the best that she can, potty training a toddler. I saw Sky today. I connected with Destiny today. Angie came in and said hello and gave enthusiastic love and support. I can be satisfied with that. I'm tired of going into these apps and not seeing the call and response and the resonance I'd like to see and having it ruin years of my existence on Earth. And when you start seeing these platforms as joy thieving enterprises, it changes your whole relationship to it. And I just refuse. If I send out a flare and I send out several per day, certainly fewer than I have in the past, and if folks see it and they want to high five for love, then I'll take it. If not, it's okay. It is well with my soul. Anyway, Facebook goes down worldwide, locking users out of accounts on Tuesday afternoon, displaying error messages that left thousands unable to access their accounts. The outage, which began around 4:15 p.m., I was working, according to Down Detector, it was presenting users with a notice reading, "Your account is currently unavailable due to a site issue. We expect this to be resolved shortly. Please try again in a few minutes." The disruption has prompted a flood of user reports across the outage tracking platforms, with complaints centered on website access failures, login problems, and difficulties loading the news feed. Meta was silent on the cause. They never publicly addressed it at all. And this is becoming a familiar pattern. The outage comes just weeks after Facebook and Instagram experienced a separate global disruption in late February when Dell Detector logged more than 300,000 reports of the Facebook issue alone. Meta platforms have faced recurring large-scale outages in recent years, including the incident in December 2024 and October 2021, the latter of which lasted 6 hours and was later attributed to router configurations and these changes. This morning, when I went to go live on Instagram, I was having issues. I just wanted to speak a bit today through this article about how we cannot be dependent upon any of these technologies. We cannot be dependent upon our cell phones to work. The community and the swingers we have across the street are who we're going to have to build very quick solidarity with if we ever truly had a crisis. This is why I want to cultivate, even if you don't want to meet your neighbors or you don't want to. I have met my neighbor across the hall. I know the property management. I know the maintenance people. If shit hits the fan, who are you going to walk through the fire with? Are you a nice enough person or a congenial enough person? I guess is the word I want to go for, to be able to bridge. Are you, or will an outage take you outage?
Well, I do know my have talked to these neighbors, and I've actually talked to the neighbors across the street too. They just struck me as strange people, so I haven't talked to them again. And same with these people over here. These people behind.
They did repair the fence.
Not no, not those ones. I've never talked to those ones. Um, Although I do see them behind the fence sometimes, and I'm like, hey. But no, these the ones that are behind the music room. I am solid that man has committed some kind of sexual crime. Very weird dude. Very weird dude. Not don't want anything to do with him. So
Is he on the registry?
I don't know, but also I just got a notification in the mail of a sex offender moving into the area. Um, so that's cool, I guess. Everybody deserves to listen, everybody deserves the opportunity to heal, and I believe that everybody deserves to eat, and I believe that we wouldn't have all of these crimes if we didn't have capitalism and functioning in the way that it functions now. Um, I believe that most of the things that people do are not because they're evil people, but out of the necessity of life, and that these situations that are created for things like that to happen are mostly
Wait,
due
wait,
to
including sexual crime?
yeah, I mean, because most sexual crimes are about power, right? It has nothing to do with like anything else. And so when you are feeling powerless, you will do anything to feel power and control, right? And so I just like I think it's a horrible thing, but I also like and hi, I'm a woman. And I have never I've experienced sexual harassment, but I've not experienced sexual abuse. However, I will say that sometimes we treat rape and sexual assault as being, like, worse than murder, and, like, most of the world is being run by a whole bunch of people that have murdered thousands of people.
And
And
sexually
or
assaulted. And sexually
and
assaulted.
or sexually assaulted thousands of people. So, like, I just think that there's a lot of stuff in there, and there's, like, the way that the sex offender laws were put into place is not really cute. It's like and the person that helped them get into law, like, kind of regrets her role in it, and so I think when things like that happen, it's like, "Ooh." But anyway, that's a tangent. The Facebook outage, first of all, I didn't know it happened. I did know that YouTube went down, and I did know that Instagram went down, and I will say that, yeah, there's a pendulum that swung during the pandemic that was like social media is everything. And once we were able to go outside again, it's like, nah, it's both and. And so I think we have to have both because I think there absolutely will be another time where we are all trapped in our house and the only way that we can communicate is through our phones. So I think we should be prepared for both. And also I just read on a Threads post that Iran may or may not be doing cyber attacks against the banks, and Bank of America is on the list. So there's
They
another
could
horrible.
add some money there.
That's when I'm like, you want to check out my bank account? You can put a couple more zeros, okay?
By all means, that's one like a different out of the box approach to destabilizing the government is by at giving money to the people
That
so
part.
that
The Robins.
we don't have to give a fuck.
What's that guy's name? Robin. The Robin Hood of it all. Which actually, that Bernie Sanders bill that I was telling you about the other day. What he wants to do is take the money from the billionaires and then give $3,000 checks to each American that makes under $150,000. And Angie, turn it to audio only. Go into the settings and turn it to audio only, and it should work.
Either that or hop on over to YouTube. YouTube's never going to fail you
Except for the
until
day that it went down.
until speaking of outages.
Okay. Um, we're wrapping it up, y'all, because I have a lesson in about 20 minutes. The baby is up. I'm going to talk about this really quick. I'm gonna give you a giant eye roll. And the only reason I put this in the deck and left it in the deck was because Flo went on a live stream and somebody was like, I just can't. Somebody was like, Tourette's, it's a European made up disease. And I was like, um, people of every
Wait, who said it's made up disease?
somebody on the stage said that it was a European like made up disease or something. And I was like, no, that's, that's like, really not true. Like people of every nationality have Tourette's. So and okay, here is what happened. What happened was they had this award show thing, and a dude ski. I don't even know his name. I still don't know his name. I probably heard it 500 times. I don't know his name. A white dude ski with Tourette's has apparently a tick of the N word that he shouted out while two black men were on stage. Okay? That's the base of what happened. All right? Now, the backstory of this that we're finding out is A, that the BBC people edited, okay, because this aired 6 hours after. So they took out some of his ticks, but not that one, girl. Number two, so and so white dude was like, I'm worried because I'm nervous and my ticks get worse when I'm nervous. So if I could just be in the back so I can leave easier. And the BBC people were like, okay. And then they put him in the back, but they put him by a fucking microphone. So I have two things. Number one, I actually believe it was Catherine with the TV that said this. Um, like, if that language was not in the popular culture, perhaps it wouldn't have become John's tick. However, John, what kind of TV are you watching? I think his name is John. I think it was John. Anyway, what kind of TV are you watching that tick happened, right? Because you got to learn it somewhere. Because when you're an infant, my child does not know that word. Like my child does not know that word, so you got to learn it somewhere in order for it to become a tick. Okay, you don't just like make up that word on your own. Anyway, um, so number one, where you learn it at, boo boo. Number two, the BBC did that man so dirty and did the black men so dirty. So dirty. And so the reality is that there is a lot of anger being thrown at this man who did not give a very good apology. I will say that, right? Typical white apology, and white tears. However, I believe that a lot of the ire should be directed at the BBC, and I think that that is being really missed because, like, once again, the BBC did all three of them dirty. All three of them. Probably because they're British and they hate black people. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway.
I mean, showbiz is going to showbiz.
That part.
Tourette's and its outburst are known methods of getting attention and getting laughs.
Right. There was a girl on TikTok for ages. I mean, she had like 5 million followers or something. I think her name was Bailey. And she was just getting attention because she ticked on screens. Right?
Yeah, people love watching these types of spectacles. And so they did what they knew was going to get their program attention.
Right.
Racial tension and racial offense is popular. It makes those who feel superior feel further superior, and it makes those who feel inferior feel more inferior.
Right.
So, from a harm reduction standpoint, I'm like, oh, this really, really sucks. From an entertainer standpoint and a marketing perspective,
Right. It's like the when Trump got shot, right? Like It's brilliant marketing.
There's no such thing as bad press.
And did y'all talk about the BAFTAs last year? Because I didn't even know the BAFTAs existed. Okay.
I knew of the BAFTAs, but they've not gotten this much press in years.
Like I didn't even know it was a thing.
We could put it on a chart.
Like it, yeah.
Just like Will Smith slapping the taste out of Chris's mouth, allegedly. Some people say that's staged.
Allegedly. I think it was staged, but that's you know, that is what
But that's going to be like your third conspiracy theory of the day.
that's my number 3. Yep.
Go easy.
That's my number
Go
3.
easy. Telehealth concerns are coming up in the world. The FDA warns 30 telehealth firms over GLP-1 drug claims. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration on Tuesday issued warning uh, letters to 30 telehealth companies for making false or misleading claims about compounded versions of GLP-1 medications, according to Reuters. The action marks the agency's latest and most targeted crackdown on firms marketing low-cost, unapproved alternatives to brand name weight loss and diabetes drugs such as Wegovy or Zepbound. It goes on to say that there will be escalating enforcement. Him and Hers, which is a company that allows you to get the pill for an introductory price of $49 per month. They're getting backlash. Basically, some of the claims that they're making for people's weight loss, etc., is not legit. I recently had a telehealth situation where I went to get glasses and I didn't even know the doctors were in the place, and I feel like some of what they're doing is misleading. What I'll say to you all is just because it glitters doesn't mean it's gold. Be careful out here, whether it relates to your eye care and or weight loss. Um, Sometimes people just want to make a quick buck off of you. Want to thank everybody who are sending their bucks to me, whether it's time, talent, or treasure, who's helping Love and Action Network lift. Just know that all the fuel that you're sending, whether it's a Cash App or Venmo or a monthly donation, know that it's helping to move us forward in our programming. We are encouraging tons of artists every month to lift their dreams, and a lot of that pressure is being alleviated in my personal life as I serve them through Fuel for Flow. We're asking for ceasefire now in the world. We talked a lot about the ridiculousness of warfare today and how there's just no need for us to be at war with ourselves or other people. Girl, haven't you suffered enough? Sir, have you not been in pain enough? Have you not seen bombs drop in these countries and also have emotional bombs drop in your life enough? It's time for us to look up and live and to imagine and dream a new world that we can all inhabit together. And that's not me being Pollyanna. That's me just wanting us all to suffer less. Our programs that currently exist within Love and Action Network are the Adopt a Black Artist program. We're also bringing daily peer support into the TikTok space and also YouTube and other spaces. This program is part of that peer support and just saying the quiet things out loud so that we can stay liberated. We're also offering admin and support services from Love City Arts Creative Services Group. And also, there are a few newsletters and email groups that I would love to see you all get on so that I don't have to copy and paste as much, getting the word out on what we're doing in our network. Also looking for collaborators in Savannah, Georgia area and beyond, and also online collaborators for Dr. Flo and the Love Experience. If you would love to be part of something bigger than yourself as you unite the talents of diverse artists, and celebrate the power of love through music, theater, and art, we would love to have you participate in that. Tara is currently running a WhatsApp community. I think she's back. Let's see if we can grab her.
For this. Hello, folks. Sorry, my child, toddlers, man, wanted to get out of bed, and then I went in there and was like laid full out and said, "No, mommy." Anyway, I have a WhatsApp community, and if you are interested in what it's like to be a stay-at-home working mom who teaches with their child home with no support, and has a wonderful toddler and is pregnant, I do have a section for that in my WhatsApp community if you're interested in learning more about that. As well as I have what is wrong? Okay, I'll get it in a second. A lift every link chat, liberation conversations and blackening the canon are there right now. That is going to expand as I go forward and find some time. I also have an album that came out at the beginning of January, but I haven't advertised it very much. You can go listen to it on terapriolo.com. Nope, terapriolo.bandcamp.com. And then I'm also going to be doing a I Dream a World archive product, which Flo was just talking about in the Ceasefire Now section, of what world we are dreaming up together. What world do you want to see beyond capitalism and beyond this rock that we're floating on together? And so I will be starting that as soon as I find some time during potty training, where we're going potty every 20 minutes. Those are my announcements.
Amazing. Also be on the lookout for some version or startup version of Love in Action TV coming back. We really want to support all of the individuals and professionals in our network and continue to tell stories of our liberation and the liberation of others that we encounter in our fractal. If you're interested in advertising and or being featured in the Love in Action Network television programs, just continue to tap in. We are available on our socials. Tara Paolo Studio on Instagram is a great way to get at her, and Ask Dr. Flo on Instagram is a great way.
Wait. A dream is a wish your heart makes.
When you're fast asleep.
I don't know any of the words, so that's it. I just know it. A dream.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay in your power, stay in your joy, stay loved and lovable. We'll see you in the DMs and in the group chats around the network.